How to Win Friends, Influence People, 6 ways to make people like you, with the one that we're working on now, become genuinely interested in other people. As we wrap this particular one up, I want to share this thought by the author. He says, a show of interest, as with every other principle of human relations, must be sincere. It must pay off not only for the person showing the interest, but for the person receiving the attention. It must be a two-way street. Both parties must benefit. And he shares this story. He talks about a 10-year-old little boy. This gentleman was taking his class, and he told this story on himself. He said, when I was 10 years old, he said, I was in for a major surgery, and he says, my mom was single with me. My dad had passed away, and he says that we were very poor, and my mom couldn't be at the hospital during the surgery. She had to work, and so he says, I was in the hospital alone on Thanksgiving Day, and he said, I was feeling bad for myself, and he says, I was 10, and he says, you can imagine the scenario, and he says, as I had my head under my covers, he said, I was crying. And he says, and along came a young nurse, and she started to talk to me. And she said, I understand how you feel. She said, I have to work today. And she says, I'd rather be with my family, but I have to work. And she said, would you be okay if I went down and got us a couple of meals from the cafeteria? So she brought a meal with all the fixings, as good or better than anything he would have received at home, because he said him and his mom were very poor. And he says, while I would much rather have been with my mom, I couldn't be, and she couldn't be with me. And this young lady didn't have anybody to be with either. And so he says, we sat there and we ate. And he says, she was off at 4 that day, but she ended up staying till 10 o'clock at night to spend time and visit with me. And he says, many Thanksgivings have come and gone, but I have never forgotten that one. And he says, I benefited, and so did she. My friends, make it a habit of yours to become genuinely interested in other people, not for what it can do for you, but for what it can do for them. And you will find that you too will be blessed in happiness and rewards of all kinds. My friends, it's a fantastic principle, and it will change your life.